И снова здравствуйте, мои уважаемые зрители.
Hello again, my dear viewers. March 29th continues in our yard, and today another material will be devoted to the negotiations in Istanbul. You know, when I listened to what the leadership of the Russian delegation was saying, the word was dumbfounded. This is the most not harsh word that I uttered at the same time.
Только что завершились переговоры с украинской стороной, переговоры прошли.
Negotiations with the Ukrainian side have just ended. The negotiations were constructive. We received a proposal from Ukraine for consideration, their clearly formulated position on inclusion in the treaty. These proposals will be considered in the near future, reported to the President, and our response will be given accordingly. For my part, I can say that we are also taking 2 steps to de-escalate the conflict towards. Here is one of the positions that the Deputy Minister of Defense for the military part will now announce, and I will say about the political part immediately after that.
Сейчас огласит заместитель министра обороны по военной части, по политической я скажу сразу после этого. Пожалуйста.
Please.
Уважаемые коллеги,
Dear colleagues,
извините, я озвучу краткое заявление Министерства обороны Российской Федерации.
Sorry. I will make a brief statement from the Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation. Due to the fact that negotiations on the preparation of an agreement on the neutrality of the non-nuclear status of Ukraine, as well as the provision of security guarantees to Ukraine, are moving into practice. Taking into account the principles discussed during today's meeting, the Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation, in order to increase mutual trust and create the necessary conditions for further negotiations and achieve the ultimate goal of agreeing on the signing of the above agreement. A decision was made to radically, at times, reduce military activity in the Kiev and Chernihiv directions. We presume that relevant key decisions will be made in Kiev and conditions should be created for further normal work. The General Staff of the Armed Forces of the Russian Federation will report in more detail on the decisions made upon the return of our delegation to Moscow. And just like that, I would like to address the representatives of Ukraine and call on Ukraine to strictly comply with the Geneva Convention, including with regard to the humane treatment of prisoners of war. We call for the total elimination of the practice of torture applied to our Russian prisoners of war, and we call for the Ukrainian side to take comprehensive measures to eliminate this practice.
И призываем к тому, чтобы украинская сторона приняла исчерпывающие меры, чтобы исключить эту практику. Спасибо.
Да, я хотел бы добавить, что касается...
I'd like to add, as for the issue of the meeting of heads of state, from the very beginning we said that this meeting is possible, perhaps when the contract is ready for signing, worked out by negotiators and foreign ministers. The proposed format was as follows: first, a contract is prepared. Then the contract is approved by the negotiators, endorsed by foreign ministers at a meeting. After that, the possibility of a meeting of heads of state to sign this treaty is discussed. This is not an easy question. Moreover, multilateral meetings are possible, with the participation of states, guarantors of peace and security in Ukraine. However, after today's meaningful conversation, we have agreed and are proposing a solution according to which the meeting of the heads of state is possible simultaneously with the initialing of the treaty by the foreign ministers. Moreover, at the time of this initialing and consideration of the details of the agreement, it is possible to discuss various political nuances and details. Thus, if the treaty is quickly worked out and the required compromise is found, the possibility of making peace will become much closer. Thanks.
Спасибо.
The first thought that came to my mind. This is what we are on the threshold of Minsk III. The only thing that keeps me from unambiguously concluding so far is that the intensity of the fighting in the Donbas region does not stop. Moreover, I see that the operation to encircle the Donbas grouping of the armed forces of Ukraine is, in fact, at the final stage. That is, the preparatory part of it has already been completed. And the fighting in this area, according to my information, continues. And also I see a set of volunteers throughout Russia for further work in Ukraine. In a large, huge amount, and so far, in fact, it calms me down. However, I join the question that I was asked in the last hour, probably about 100 people. What was it? And what should we expect in the near future? This question, which I emphasize, was asked to me by people who are literally now on the territory of Ukraine, and who did everything in their power to free themselves from the Nazi regime. I am forwarding this question to the leadership of the Russian Federation. On this topic, that's all for today. Till tomorrow. As they say, the morning is wiser than the evening.
До завтра. Как говорится, утро вечера мудренее.